Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne. Netflix made a big impact on society as a whole when it released Riverdale, a dark and edgy, over-the-top reimagining of the Archie universe, where instead of lighthearted love triangles and milkshakes, we get murder, edgier love triangles, and also milkshakes. Likely semi-inspired by a passion project comic made by Fiona Staples, a graduate from the same college I attended actually. I was a little charmed by this reimagining, even if some of the over-the-top aesthetics and drama was a little much for me sometimes, and I did eventually have to drop the show because the writing was a lot. But my goodwill towards this edgification process started to fade when the spin-off show Sabrina came out, probably because I actually liked the silly and lighthearted show Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I was not very happy with the way that they inserted like a clearly Christian idea of Satan into the girly and fun witchcraft that Sabrina had been shown to be using in the show and even in the retro comic. Conflating Satan and witchcraft is a huge pet peeve of mine because, I mean, it was literally used as a way to commit acts of extreme violence on lots of people, especially women and girls, so it's one of those things that I really don't like to see in modern media. And because this is such a pet peeve of mine, I kind of assumed that was the reason I ended up not liking Sabrina. I really thought that's all it was. And then when I saw Netflix's new show that is based off of Winx Club, then I started to realize that this might go a little bit deeper. So today I'm going to be talking about the aesthetics of the Netflix reboot or reskin of classic nostalgic childhood things. And I'm just going to talk about the issues with that from the perspective of a character designer. So for those of you who don't know, Winx Club was originally an Italian-American show that premiered in 2004. The creator wanted to make an action series that would appeal to girls, and he was very inspired by Japanese animation, which explains the very clearly magical girl-inspired transformation scenes of the characters, as well as the strong color and element associations with each character that's also very much in that same magical girl world. Because of that, I'm going to actually use Sailor Moon as an example, because it is a magical girl show as well, and it's also colorful and beloved by young girls, so I feel like it's a good approximation of Winx Club in its original form. And I will be redesigning Usagi from Sailor Moon the way that I think Netflix would if they ever got their hands on her, just to kind of show the problems that I'm talking about with the way that they redesigned these beloved childhood characters. So visually, the first thing I noticed when I watched the Winx Club adaptation was the age of the main actress. Both in the animation and the live action, Bloom, the main character, is supposed to be 16 years old, but as usual with these teen adaptations, her actress is actually 6 years too old for her role. Even worse is her 17-year-old love interest is played by a 26-year-old man, but that doesn't stop them from having this very trendy, very relatable exchange.
Right, sorry, I'd be happy to...
Mansplain it?
No.
Sure. Kinda seems like your thing.
Right, fellow teens? Isn't that just how you talk? But anyway. So firstly I have to try and draw Usagi at least in her mid-20s. In the original Winx Club show, Bloom has very cute bangs and some pretty aggressive layers. Her hair is also really long, but in the Netflix adaptation, she has a very standard haircut and hair length. So I'm gonna have to tone down Usagi's really interesting hair style because I just genuinely don't feel like Netflix would go to the bother that a cosplayer would by actually styling it the way it looks in the cartoon. So I gotta shrink down those buns and make her hair just look a lot thinner and I guess more realistic in that way. The other thing that really drove me crazy with this Winx Club adaptation is in the original show, the characters are truly they truly are magical girls. Like I said, they have full body transformations, they have big staff-like sort of weapons, I suppose, and they use all kinds of different things like props and things like that to use their power. But in the show, as far as I've seen at least, they tend to be more of just holding their magic in their hands. It's a lot more of a live action Avatar kind of vibe. Definitely gave me sort of the same feeling of watching a superhero movie. Like, there was a scene in the forest where Bloom was trying out her fire magic, and it looked so much like a scene from the trailer of Dark Phoenix that I almost wondered if they wanted to make a superhero show rather than a magical girl show, and that feeling did not go away from the point that I thought that moving forward. It definitely felt like they resented the magical girl structure that the original show really had, and all of those influences kind of got completely thrown out and replaced with more of a Harry Potter combined with X-Men kind of feeling, which I guess is more appealing to Western audiences supposedly, but that does seem weird since anime is more popular here than it ever has been. So like, why would you tone down that element? I just really don't know. But with that preference considered, I had to take away Sailor Moon's wand and tiara because I genuinely don't think that they would have her keep them. One of the other very visually striking differences between the adaptation and the original show is the colors. Now, naturally, cartoons are probably going to be more colorful than live action film. It's very difficult actually to pump up color that hard in live action, so I understand why it wasn't quite at the same level. However, it did seem like they went a little hard on making the girls appear frumpy and desaturated and gritty. I just really don't know why they would do that, but since that seems to be the thing that they're doing, I made Usagi look very just color deficient, I guess. Honestly, even worse than what they did visually to these characters is what they did to their personalities. I think that Bloom's personality in the original show, from what I've seen, is actually really like pleasant, charismatic. You instantly start rooting for her. She's not like a perfect character, but she's like considerate, and she seems really like brave and nice. So like she has all these good qualities, whereas Bloom in the Netflix adaptation is really none of those things. She's really like conflicted and tormented, and she thinks everything is so hard in her life, and she's always complaining about everything. And yeah, I mean, I already showed you the mansplaining clip, so you can see how much charisma she has on screen. But basically, I don't understand why in live action adaptations, like characters who are cheerful or nice in the original have to become this. I don't think it's necessarily more realistic. Like, I definitely don't know that many people who are actually as misanthropic as the teens of movies and TV would lead one to believe. So I really don't get why they keep doing that, especially to protagonists who you have to like follow along for the whole story. But considering that, I had to make Usagi, of course, a depressed, misanthropic teen who probably, instead of being a crybaby, she's actually like really down all the time and depressed, and probably, I don't know, they'd probably give her some hackneyed teen problem and deal with it really insensitively, like give her an eating disorder or something, or like a drug habit, I don't know. Like in Winx Club, they literally had her almost burn her parents alive, so you know, the sky's the limit, I guess. So now that I've created the most drab possible version of Usagi to prove a point about like why this kind of sucks to see happen to a colorful, nostalgic character, I'm going to try and draw Bloom the way I think that they could have styled her and still modernize the show without completely ruining like the integrity of what the show originally was, and still making it feel like an adaptation of that original show rather than just a name slapped onto something that is completely different. So the first thing that I wanted to change was the hair. The hair really bugged me for some reason. I don't know why this is the thing that really stuck out to me, but especially because there's like a haircut style that's getting kind of popular right now. I think it originated in maybe Korea or something like that. It's called like a wolf cut or something, but they're just like these strong choppy layers that can kind of be floofed out. I'll show some reference pictures here. But basically I feel like that's kind of the style that she was rocking in the original show, so like why not just take that, especially since it's becoming more of a trend. Obviously I want her hair to be longer. Look, the actress doesn't need to have hair that's that long, just give her extensions or something, but I just really feel like it will add to the fashionable and fairy oriented original story. And because there was such a focus in development on really capturing the like fashion trends of the time and making these action heroes really appealing to girls, even girly girls, and giving them something that they could really have fun with. I decided to try and put some really trendy clothes on her. And when I was designing her fairy form, which yes, I do believe she should still have one. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the show. So like, why would you not have her actually like transform at all? Like, that's the whole thing. So I did a fairy form of her as well, and her fairy form I feel like should be actually like even more girly and fluffy than the original, because I think like with trends like the strawberry dress in particular, I think there's definitely like a fairy tale kind of energy that's going around in fashion circles, especially with young people. There's a fascination for this kind of like really dreamy, fluffy kind of dresses, and I really like the idea of Bloom being sort of more like very like trendy to the point of being a little more tomboyish in her presentation in her normal life, and then when she transforms, she becomes like this ultra girly, ultra cute, sort of fluffy chiffon kind of character design. I think that duality would be really fun to see, and I mean, you can still have her be really shocked by her new powers and everything, but maybe she doesn't literally have to have almost burned her parents alive. Like I get the need for like edgier content, but like it seems like kind of a lot. And the other thing I should say is like, just because the aesthetic is more feminine or more cute or brighter doesn't mean you can't deal with more deep or dark things. A really great example of that is some real magical girl shows. So like, for example, Madoka or Yuki Yuna is a Hero, both really excellent magical girl anime that are way, way, way darker than probably this Winx show is ever going to get, despite the fact that literally the first scene is an old man getting mauled to death by some sort of unseen creature. I really think that doesn't even hold a candle to the kind of existential dread and horror that some of these magical girl shows have, and they do it all with pastels and frills and everything. So I really do wish that people people who are making content here in the West could understand that like sometimes that juxtaposition of aesthetics actually makes it even more creepy or even more exciting or more interesting, and not to be so afraid of feminine things in their designs, especially when the show is originally designed to appeal to young girls. It just doesn't make any sense to so aggressively avoid all of that and make it try to make it look like this gritty Marvel movie. Like, we don't need any more of those. There's already like 600 of them coming out this year, so like I think we're good. I should also probably mention before this video ends that another major problem with the adaptation was that they like turned two of the main characters from non-white characters into white characters, which is really weird to see happen in the modern age. I mean, like, it's something from the early 2000s should not be more diverse than the version that exists now. Like, that's literally backwards progress. What are you doing? So that's a little awkward. I didn't really know how to incorporate that into the video, but it's something that should be noted. But in summary, I just want to make it clear, I don't have any problem with them edgy-fying or like aging up these old retro like kids shows. I think that's kind of fun, honestly. I just wish that they wouldn't do it in a way that like scrapes away all the originality and colorfulness and fun from the actual designs, because it makes me sad as a artist and a character designer, and I would just really wish that they would try a little harder and not just give out these like stock costuming and character design choices that have nothing to do with the thing that they're adapting. But again, that's just my opinion. I hope Netflix isn't deeply hurt by that. If they are, you know, feel free to wipe your tears with the $1 million bills that you probably have lying around. And I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, bye. Thank you so much to my patrons, including Sean Davidson, Gracie Rose, I Am Gender Fluid Salt, Deadly Nightshade, Maria Vasquez, Astral Fox Art, Munch Munch McGee, Dreff Shrenick, Middle Z, Alcapa, Lily Allure, The Expressive Poker Face, Morrissey Axolotl, Big McLarch Huge, Chris Draws, Subaki, Snow White, The Becky, Liliana Hammond, Mia Lavalley, Angelphile, Q Musgrove, Nicole Ledwalk, Nicolette Queen, Rainwater Pearls, Ice Cream Pal, Best Kaiju, Lion, Nato Kamagire, Ilaria Louie, Nora Cornelison, Cola, your boy ST, JJ Jade, and of course, Libble.